Hey everybody, welcome back. It's repentance, baby. Don't worry about that streak, okay? We won't see many more goose eggs, I think, as long as I live. I think the time has come. We're getting there. It's Eve, Tainted Path, which is actually true ending. I'm mixing up my own vernacular now. Or Mega Satan, and it is an or, which is fine. Dude, what a garbage rate of fire I'm realizing. You'd think it would stick in my brain because of the fact that I've been playing as Tainted Eve like quite a lot lately, but I'm noticing now 1.2 rate of fire. No wonder, you know, you should be sumptoriuming, engaging in the use of sumptorium as often as possible. Anyway, it's a early Tuesday morning here. Still in the middle of this heat wave, but still comfortable. So I mentioned the heat wave mostly for, I don't know, just as a signpost for where we're at in the recording saga and what's going on in the world around me. I will say, and this is my own fault 100%, when I was going to bed last night, I felt like I might have been, I don't want to say I was dehydrated, but I was starting to get like a little like 2 out of 10 headache, and I was faced with a decision. Get out of bed, walk 20 feet to the kitchen, have a glass of water and maybe a Tylenol, and then know that I'll likely feel better in the morning. Or alternatively, be like really, really lazy and just go, you know, probably sleep fixes all the problems you could possibly have, and then just go to sleep and hope that the headache isn't there when you wake up. You can probably derive for yourself how that went down. I don't get, and I'm very thankful for it, I don't really get migraines, you know, I've never had like a cluster headache or anything like that, so it's really just a minor inconvenience, but let me tell you, it's one of those things that's like, it's a great lesson. I'm always saying an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I feel like it would have been more sensible to take that Tylenol last night, drink a glass of water before bed. But then again, I'm like, I have 10 bombs here, so I take this up on the offer for sure. Maybe if I had that glass of water, who knows? I wake up at 4 a.m. or something like that because I gotta pee, and then I feel maybe I got a tired headache today. Who knows, right? True ending, Mega Satan. I like this path, because we don't have to make a choice right away. We can kind of choose at our leisure. And you can tell I'm serious about it, because I said leisure instead of leisure, which is uncommon for me. Let's see what we get from these guys, and then we'll figure out whether or not we'll take a look at a deal with the devil. I feel like a deal with the devil is... It's one of those things I feel like it's only unveiled to us whether or not it's the right path. That was just terrible damage. In hindsight, you know, a deal with the devil usually is not going to be as good as a deal with the angel, but there is an exception. You know, what if it has brimstone? What if it has mom's knife? What if it has one of the 10 out of 10 deal with the devil items? Then it obviously is worth it. But how do we know? We need to be able to peek inside like a kid looking at their Christmas gift without actually ruining our chance to get angel deals in the future. I think we say no. I think I say no. And honestly, I don't dislike this shop, but it didn't sing to me, you know? It croaked a little bit, which I can relate to. I'd say most of my singing is croaking. You know, even this, this is another XL floor, oh my god. That's an amazing item. Even this has a little bit of a frog-like register to it. And really, when I sing in the car, I never find myself able to match pitch unless we're, you know, talking about maybe Magnetic Fields 69 Love Songs is on, and, you know, some of those songs Stephen Merritt gets mighty low in the baritone range. Papa was a rodeo, you know, like maybe down there I can get something done, but apart from that, I'm mostly just croaking out the hits here. If you'll excuse me, please. Okay, let's see what we got here. Very good. Peeler is an interesting item. I'm respecting right now that we need some familiars. So I appreciate that we have the familiars from Sumptorium, I should say, or from Tainted Eve's just like default mechanics. I know they changed how this works, but it's yet another item in Repentance that has changed to emphasize having substantially more mental overhead. So I'm just trying to, you know, also not get myself killed by being overwhelmed by the decision-making process here, if you'll allow me. Just stay perfectly still. Their vision is based on movement. Honestly, worked out way better than you ever could have anticipated. So I don't know. I don't know if we need Peeler, but it is nice to just have kind of like an easy damage upgrade, I suppose, which is really what Peeler represents for me in some ways. But this is a genuinely good run. Which path is most likely to succeed? Right now, I would say Mega Satan, because we get a little bit more time to kind of build. And as of right now, we're just a little bit like... The fact that, in theory, I could have like one more floor before we go to the true ending stuff is a little bit overwhelming, you know? It's a little too soon. So that's what I'm thinking for now. Stapler, mighty helpful. I wonder what the reasoning is for Edmund making, like... You had to know that this item was going to be beloved, right? You could have made it anything, and he chose, like, one of the most noteworthy office supplies out there. But even then, like, it's one of those things, like, I think you really only use it, like, in an office context, right? Like, I do find myself doing the very slightest bit of stapling on occasion. I do see the golden penny, by the way. But it's rare, let's put it that way. Sometimes, you know, like, you'll have to collate some documents to drop them off somewhere. That's about it, but it's not something you see. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is in a home office world where everything's gone paperless, more or less, I don't find myself using a stapler that much. Pens and pencils, ubiquitous. Got it. I mean, you made... There have been times in my adult life where I've, you know, used a pen and been like, wow, it's been a long time since I've used this. But still, even in a digital world, I find myself using a pen on occasion. Sometimes you gotta sign stuff, you gotta initial stuff. I'm trapped in the 20th century up here, which I understand is not that long ago, but, you know, life moves fast. So I'm still writing checks on occasion. Although now that we got Wealthsimple Cash, I don't know if that's going to be necessary anymore. On top of that, hold on. If you'll excuse. Post-it notes, very common. Although I will say, I feel like the post-it note, it's almost like it gets you hooked on the drug of, like, making that post-it note, right? Like, the feeling of, like, ripping and sticking. It's worth the price of admission from the 3M Corporation, but I do also have to say, I think that the post-it note is not necessarily the most efficient note-taking device. We got a magnetic whiteboard, which is not even a whiteboard, but it's just like a whiteboard sheet that you can dry erase. And that's the ticket, man. You got groceries, you know, you run out of olive oil. You don't have to go to your closet, pull out the post-it notes or your desk drawer. You just go over to the refrigerator and you type, or sorry, you write with your hand, because I'm not a robot, even though I need oil. Not a good robot voice. Throat very dry, head empty. You go olive oil. Because that's what you forget the most, right? Is when you're cooking, you use the last bit of olive oil, you use the last Ziploc bag, you use the last paper towel, but you're like, oh, I'll just write it down later. Then you never write it down. You go to the grocery store 3 days later, and you're like, oh, come on. I don't have any olive oil? I mean, that's a bad one. You start cooking that stuff in a dry pan. What would Babish think? That'd be a great time to bring him in. I don't have access to, you know, his person on that level, but wouldn't that be cool if he made a cameo? Let's just pretend he did. I would not like that. See, because he talks a little deep. Anyway, apart from that, like, you know what I was thinking, though? I don't mind chopping vegetables, okay? I don't, or you know, the preparation process of cooking. As long as I've chosen the project for myself, then it's, you know, it's part of the cost of doing business. You don't make chili and then go, oh, I wish there wasn't so much chopping involved here. But what if they made, you know that, like, you ever see people cut coupons on TLC's Extreme Couponing? You're like, where's he going today? He's all over the map. I'm bringing it down. We're bringing it down to a level of a little bit quieter here, okay? You ever see people cut coupons on TLC's Extreme Couponing, and they've got that paper cutter that has like one big machete attached to it? They should make one of those for cooking. I think I blew up my own sumptorium, but it's worth it because I got 4 cents back. They should make one of those for cooking. You know, I guess in reality, kind of like a deli slicer is already like that. I guess I'm asking for like a home use deli slicer. But that thing was always like, of all the office supplies that you could use in a school context, using that sweet cutter to, like, you know, make sure your printed science fair stuff was like the perfect size to then glue stick to a 3-fold poster board, like that was top tier. Because you'd have to ask permission. I'm sure my middle school teachers were sweating it every time somebody was like, hey, can I go use that industrial, like, paper slicer? But I mean, in terms of the most fun to use, 3-hole punch is okay. I don't even know if you'd call it an office supply, but a protractor is pretty cool. I was talking about this with Kate the other day. Of all the things, you know, when you buy like a geometry set, you use the protractor in school all the time to find angles, right? You use the compass to draw circles quite frequently. And then the triangles, literally you never use them unless you forgot your ruler that day. And then you're like, oh, don't worry, I still have a straight edge. No offense, CM Punk. Look at this, I'm you but stronger. Well, you can't say I didn't try. I cleared out the entirety of the floor. That was like 8 minutes right there. And we're still ahead of schedule if we want to go that way, by the way. Let's start here. Just see what we get. You know, maybe call me crazy. I don't think it's worth it. I think we're gonna be able to leverage this HP better in the future. You know I leverage better. Peeler. I like your peeler. You know this, Steely Dan? It makes a cube of meat. Or maybe Bandage Girl. It's like a dream come true. Anyway, that floor looked less impressive than it should have been because we missed that 2/3 chance for a deal with the angel, but it's a good reminder that, you know, 2/3 chance does not equal 100% chance. Let's make some more sumptorium individuals here. Very helpful. I would say necessary, not just helpful. Soul of Magdalene creates an astronomical amount of hearts around us. What a shot. Ghost Pepper. We have 2 luck. I'm not upset about Ghost Pepper. You think my Sumptoriums get Ghost Pepper access? I would assume not. But we do, I mean, we did just shoot out, like, maybe they do? Because that's way more than you would expect to get. That's kind of a ridiculous amount of fires. I actually don't want Whipworm. Because I feel like it's too fast. I want my shots to be kind of slow so that if the fires land properly, they'll do more damage. Like, because they'll stay on top of the enemies longer. It must be. It must scale with Sumptorium. It's the only answer here. So let's create some more, familiars here. I mean, this is a good start. I don't know whether we're going to do alt path or regular Mega Satan. It depends to some extent. I know we're going to get a deal with the angel here. Are we actually guaranteed to get 2 deals with the Angel now that I think about it? I think the answer is absolutely not. At this point, because we missed the odds a little bit on one of them. Oh, double bombs, huh? Good thanks to the trinket, I'm sure. Just give me the pinky eye for now. I just don't want to risk too much here. At this point, we might be better off trying to do true ending just because that's huge. Just because we literally could try to do Mega Satan and then just end up not getting enough angel deals to even get the key piece. You know, you have to play an Eddie room or something like that. It's not the end of the world. But it's it adds some uncertainty to it for sure. I gotta say, the worm friend, I think I underrate heavily. I think it's actually very potentially super solid. Holds enemies in place for the ghost pepper to just light them up. And I gotta tell you, I can feel that extra strength Tylenol doing its magic here. Thank you to the Bayer Corporation for not sponsoring this video, because it's probably like, I don't know if it's illegal, but if it's not clearly satire, it's probably frowned upon to pretend you have a corporate sponsor. You can understand why. You know, you could release some truly, you know, objectionable content and be like, hey, thanks to, you know, the Coca-Cola Corporation for sponsoring this video, and they're like, I didn't do that. You're doing some messed up stuff there. You're playing Escape from Tarkov. Unacceptable. I now am going to admit I am officially lost. I'm like a Thursday night on the ABC television network in the mid-2000s. Pretty much just lost. Did we go to the right? We did. We went up too. But maybe I missed a door? Anytime there's multiple paths, it has been known to happen. There we go. He was standing still and I missed. I've been taking aim training lessons from myself in PUBG. Anyway, what am I up to? Not that much. I do need to apologize, you know, and I never thought I would have to make an apology video. I would like to apologize, though, because I mistakenly told everybody I know that I was going to watch Black Widow this weekend on Disney Plus with Premiere Access. I only recently found out it actually comes out next weekend on Disney Plus with Premiere Access. I apologize. I was younger back then when I said those things about how Black Widow's coming out this Friday on Disney Plus with Premiere Access. I apologize. I didn't know the consequences of my words and my actions. I know now that like so many people are looking forward to Black Widow on Disney Plus with Premiere Access, that I probably made you think it was going to be this week, but then it's next week, and I apologize for my words and my deeds. I apologize. Can we just move on, okay? Like, everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Maybe, you know, you've mistakenly thought that Mulan had not come out on Disney Plus with Premiere Access yet, but I promise you Mulan has. That was like a year ago. I think it was their trial run. They didn't get me on that one, okay? And they didn't get me on Cruella. This is big. This is very big. But we're not going to take Book of Revelations. I think we're going to do Book of the Dead. Because that seems like it would scale nicely with what we got going on here. I mean, again, I don't know. At this point, Disney's demographics are literally every human being on planet Earth, okay? Young, old, snobs, non-snobs, like non-discerning customers, etc., etc. You know, people who just want a good time, people who want to, you know, the first opportunity for Taskmaster to ever appear on the screen, and etc., etc. So we're not forgetting the Fool card. We'll probably just waste Soul of Maggie by not using it, but at this point, I don't want to tell them like how to live their lives, but IMO, in my opinion, Cruella, if you watched it on Disney Plus, they should have paid you $30 that you could use at your leisure. Maybe, like, I would watch Cruella if it would allow me to watch Black Widow for free. Although now I'm like, I don't know. That's an awful lot. Blank Rune is very interesting here, right? Like Blank Rune plus Soul of Maggie equals we win. But hold on, I'm not done with my earlier topic of conversation. You don't think there's a possibility that that's the future of streaming? Like, you know what? Right now, I'm back on my BS. I'm thinking about this seriously, okay? You know how now, if you don't, I'll explain it. But if there's like a war for your mind share in the world of ordering food online. Uber Eats, DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, JustEat.ca, Good, pizzas, and etc. Like all these different websites offer you. It used to be like they'd compete on access to restaurants. Now, I mean, we could fight Mega Save, but I think the true ending's probably harder, right? So, doesn't really matter what we take. We definitely do want to at least peep this. That's Prism. Yeah, Prism's just fun. Like, we should still get Boss Rush access here. I don't mind losing some Spirit Hearts, because I have a master plan for how this run's gonna go. And it involves never using Sumptorium ever. Just use that for now, because we're gonna then come over here. Not good enough, possibly good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Okay, possibly good enough has become good enough as a result. Then we leave. We still have an item room and a shop to get to. So let's farm up Book of the Dead first, okay? So now, like, all those websites, they used to be like, oh, we're the only restaurant that has, like, Cactus Club on it. Then Cactus Club was like, what the heck, we're, you know, probably throwing away, like, thousands of dollars a day in revenue. So they're on everything. Now, Uber Eats especially just fills your inbox with coupons every single day. I'm now starting to understand why this company is not profitable. But every single day, they're like, hey, 15 bucks off your next order. Hey, 30 bucks off your first order from a restaurant, you know, in this group. That is obviously going to be more than $30 because they don't want to give it to you for free. But either way, they're sending, like, they're very aggressive with their couponing. Do you think that could happen in the streaming wars? Like, I feel like that's the next sign of irrational exuberance for this space, right? You may disagree with me, but, like, right now, people are so overstimulated. They have so many choices of what to watch across 12 different platforms. Hey, what if, you know, you watch this movie, we'll give you a coupon to watch a premium movie for free. How about that? Doesn't that sound nice? No? Okay. I know this sounds asinine, but Amazon actually already experimented with this. For Twitch, and it was not quite the same, but it's in the same ballpark. They were giving out, like 500 bits to give away to streamers if you watched the first episode of Jack Ryan with Jim from The Office. This is like, I think this was summer 2018. That doesn't mean that it's a trend that's gonna come back necessarily. But I'm getting to the point where I'm like, you know what? Instead of having a free trial, like, a free trial doesn't even get me out of bed for these services anymore, right? Like, the only thing that gets me out of bed for these services, if Netflix was like, hey, if you watch our crappy new food show, we'll give you $5. We'll give you your subscription for free for this month. Then I'd be like, all right, you have my attention. Excuse me, what is... that's insane. You have created the perfect run. Now, just don't forget where you're going. So, I mean, like, in theory, the way that we should play this is just stand still, create as many Sumptoriums as possible. I'm being only half facetious, by the way, when I say that I could totally see that happening in the future. Excuse me, it doesn't work with the Soul of Maggie? I've been misled? That's funny, because, like, on the map, it looks like a soul. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it has it looks like a rune. it has the rune indicator on it and all that stuff, but, you know, I guess what do I know? Sorry, just... Okay, I'm not actually mad, so let's be careful with the tone that we adopt here, but, you know, in my head I'm like, oh, don't worry about it, just, you know, another edge case to add to my brain with the other 15,000 edge cases that already exist here. So we don't necessarily need to use Soul of Maggie, like we can just simmer on that one. Might get enough HP to make it inconsequential to use right now. And we can definitely double up on the Algiz rune. So I got no sweat there. Yo, listen. Kind of wish I took the other item, but, you know, how was I to know? How was I to know? And then this will be Dad's note. So we could, again, play that, but I don't really want to, like, mess with that. Maybe this seems like cowardice. But I think, you know, sometimes you have a recipe and it says, you know, squeeze the juice of 1 lemon. I guarantee you're not squeezing the entirety of the juice. You know, you're squeezing enough that you know that just to get that last little bit out of there is going to be a little bit, you know, annoying. And then you throw it in your compost bin. I'm giving you some credit. I said you throw it in the compost. Many people out there probably just chucking it in the garbage. Hey, I'm not an expert on, like, environmental sciences. Despite having a 4-year degree in biology, which by most people's estimation is supposed to make you not only an expert in, like, you know, climate science, but also, like, zoology, botany. You got to know the Latin names for every species in binomial nomenclature. Also, biological history. You got to know, you know, hey, who was, what level of cousin was Charles Darwin married to? By the way, you think Charles Darwin marrying his cousin is like the #1 example in human history of do as I say, not as I do? Just throwing that out there. Smeltor. Yeah, I do be smelting, though. Battery pack. Well, it does generate, you know what? It's actually fine. Because we can blank card Algiz. That one actually works. We will get a payout of some sort here. But anyway, I'm not an expert on, like, you know, recapturing nutrients or whatever. Sucks that it's IV bag, but life goes on. However, in spite of that, let me out, please. I mean, there might be another Temperance card, but who cares? Well, it would give us IV bag, but who cares? Or blood bag, but who cares? Who cares? I'm a doctor, too. We don't need this. I think throwing recyclables into the trash is a D-head move. I think that makes you kind of a D-head. Especially if the only reason you're doing it is because you're, like, a little too lazy. Like, your recycling's full, so you're like, oh, I'm just going to put it in the garbage. And then don't even get me started. Yes, I know. It's one of those things where, like, well, you know, a lot of the stuff that, you know, goes to the recycling plant just gets thrown in the garbage anyway. Yeah, but, like, be honest with yourself. Not aluminum cans, dummy. Like, you know, I'm not going to allow you to enable yourself to be that, to still feel self-righteous about it. That being said, compost into the garbage can, my estimation is that it's probably not the worst waste sin. Because it's still gonna biodegrade. I mean, you'd rather biodegrade it in an avenue where it's more possible for you to, you know, capture some of the value of the decaying organic matter, but you know, it's not like you're necessarily filling up a landfill with banana peels, I suppose. You know, they are still filtering down to the earth, just maybe a little bit more inefficiently. Again, I'm not a scientist, just my estimation. We compost. Honestly, like, it's not that hard. When I grew up, like, when I was... and your attitudes as a child, like... you know, they shape how you act as an adult, right? When I grew up in the mid-90s, early 2000s, like, literally, like, one of my friend's parents composted, and they wore tie-dye shirts every day, even to, like, formal school assemblies and stuff like that. You get what I mean? Sorry, I was checking out a tweet that I got. Getting a lot of bald-based tweets lately, which is good. I'm finally being recognized, I think. Let's pop algae on this room. Or on this room, I should say. Now, composting, I think, you know... I mean, first off, we shouldn't have judged it so harshly as only being a thing that, like, hippies would do back in the day. But, like, I think to some extent, in the 90s, like, if you cared about the environment... And again, please filter your negative opinion about me through the fact that I was, like, 9 years old. My perception was, you know, adults who cared about the environment is like, hey, come on, we got bigger problems than the planet we live on. Like, they were still trying to get people to stop throwing, like, potato chip bags out of their car windows while they were driving and stuff like that. We've come a long way. I would encourage you, you know, if you haven't started composting, you can get a little, like, countertop composter. Comes with, like, a charcoal filter in the top of it, not stinky at all. Once every 2 or 3 days, depending on, you know, what you cook and what you eat, you take that thing full of, like, you know, eggshells and animal bones and stuff like that. You well, I don't know what you... now I'm being, like... as a coastal elite, I just take it to my shared recycling area where there's several compost containers, and then, I don't know, the compost fairy takes it away every Wednesday. I don't know what you do if you live in a more rural environment. Can't you just, like, hop, and this is not meant to be rude, but can't you just, like, hop on your ATV and, you know, chuck that son of a gun out in the woods? Like, I'm sure that it's got to be good for the soil out there. Plus, you get to take a little ATV ride. Wow, that's nice. Nothing tilts me off the face of the planet, by the way. And I think I'm starting to tease apart why this personally bothers me so much. And I think it's going to be relatable. When I go to these, like, shared garbage rooms, and then I see someone throwing out non-compost in a compost bin, it drives me freaking insane. Literally, I feel like I'm having a brain aneurysm every time. Don't rest yet. I got big plans for this floor, okay? Hero's Medallion, great item. Let's see if we get Mom's Knife. I've heard tales that this can happen. So close. It's a knife for a lock. Now, what do? Check this out. I mean, this is going to take us a bit. But, like, I'm not talking about, like, oh, they threw, like, you know... I don't even... I mean, compost is self-explanatory, right? Or at least I feel like it should be. If it's not organic, don't put it in the compost. And then sometimes, like, I go down to the compost area, and they've used, like, a plastic shopping bag from the dollar store to wrap up a bunch of eggshells. And I'm like, oh, you're so close, and yet still so stupid. You can't compost the plastic bags. Just take the plastic bag down... Turn it upside down in the compost bin and then, like, throw the bag in the garbage. Or if you can recycle it where you're from, do that, obviously. Check this out, though. Check this out. You ready for this? That is not how Soul of Maggie works. But this is why we built in this little failsafe right here, just in case. Soul of Maggie makes enemies drop red hearts. Yeah. Okay, I think that we should be good here. Oh, we have to sleep in the super bed first. Maybe it did work with Soul of Maggie then, now that I think about it. I just didn't notice that my character was glowing because I was too busy getting on people's butts for not composting properly. I forgot that's me. Why are my sumptoriums up at the top here? Maybe I don't care. They seem to be doing a really good job, honestly. Okay, great work. We got perfection. You have to take it. And then you just pop algae, because perfection plus, oh my god. Perfection plus ghost pepper is, you know, is that classic combo that you just can't beat. So I will not pop algae yet, but you should be dead in, like, actually a second. Oh my god, dude, this is so good. And I think I teased apart the reason that bugs me is because in my head, that's someone who, like, they go to bed feeling proud of themselves, thinking that they've done a good deed, when in actuality, they have sabotaged a good deed. You know, they have actually made it harder for the person who's doing the composting to compost. But in their head, they're like, I'm a good person. And I'm like, well, you know, you're not a bad person for composting badly, but you're literally like, I don't know what to say. You're moving the needle backwards. This is actually going to be the fastest fight we've ever had against the beast, I think. This is kind of unbelievable. I'm going to pop algaes and then just start yeeting some thoriums at. Like, look at you're dead, dude. You're dead. Are you kidding me? What a run. Well, there's we'll probably run Tainted Eve again just because that run was so much fun, and we're only one away on the post-it, man. Great run, though. One of the best we've had, especially that perfection. You very rarely see perfection drop after you're fighting Dogma, but for now, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. I'm such a great deal. Subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya!